Episode 211 Above Ground Podcast. I can see clearly.
Disclaimer. The hosts of this podcast, Timothy Patrick and Will Foley, are by no means medical professionals. However, having lived experience with mental illness themselves, they have gained useful perspectives on common mental health issues that some of us struggle to overcome on a daily basis. By sharing their stories, they hope to create connection. By creating connection, they hope to help you find your purpose. And through purpose, we can all begin to build the foundation for positive mental health. This is Above Ground Podcast.
Coming at you live with real conversations about mental health from the perspective. It's time for Above Ground Podcast. Now your hosts, TPP and Will Foley. Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to
Above Ground Podcast.
All right. Timmy, you awake over there?
Oh, I'm awake. I didn't know what...
Yeah, you know. We're just going for it tonight, people.
Going for it.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 209.
209?
Wow, 209. Damn. What's the date today?
209. The date today is... I don't know. I think it's June 14th already, right?
Wow, June 14th. You know what that means? Happy birthday. It is 4 fucking years that we've been doing this podcast now.
This is the actual day. Holy moly.
Wow. So happy anniversary, man.
Happy anniversary, Will.
And Will.
Happy bro anniversary.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary to Will and happy bro-versary and
all that.
all
Please
the cake.
please don't use that word. Don't do it.
What?
Don't do any of that bro shit. Oh, I can't fucking stand it. Don't do it.
I was just fucking around. 209. I can see clearly now.
I can see clearly
now,
now.
Will?
Well, we're going to talk about growth and actually being able to see growth in ourselves.
Noticing that noticing the signs, noticing that you're healing and growing. I guess one thing that you can sometimes notice is not falling into the same patterns. The same patterns that you have done for years and years that have led you kind of back to the start some days, Those old patterns that never really worked out. They were not helpful in your life, and they were probably put together through unhelpful coping skills from your past.
Yeah, basically. But we don't have to stay in those.
No.
Because there are podcasts like ours. There's books like Tim's. Never underestimate the power of you. So there's tools out there for you to get a hold of. Get the knowledge, integrate the knowledge, and turn it into the life that you want to live. Because that's what this is all about. See, it's not about getting from the day or taking from the day or taking from life. It's about what can I give to the day? What can I give to life? What can I give to myself? And what do I give to myself? By going out and giving to other people, it gives me back to myself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's... I don't know. I don't think... I'd find it hard-pressed to find somebody that, does something for somebody else and can't feel some joy out of that.
Yeah, there might be some.
I'm sure there is. But
there are
people
right
now.
We're going to be happy, though. We're going to choose to be happy.
There you go. We're going to choose to believe that there's a lot of people out there that will do that. Yes.
We're going to choose to believe that.
Yes, because we see the signs. We see the rain is gone, and we can see clearly, and we're growing and we're healing, and it's a constant. I think we've talked about this many times, but healing is a constant journey. It's not something that it's a one-time event or, it's continuous throughout your life. And as you progress in your life and as you learn, some things will pop up and maybe some hurdles will pop up and you can have opportunities to continue to learn. I think that's something that sometimes you need to be on the lookout for, since you are the captain of your boat. You may have one of those scopes up there and you can look out for things,
Well, you know what happened when the captain took his eye off of the Titanic and went to bed? Hit an iceberg.
I don't think he went to bed. I think he was making out with the chick down the hall. That's just my theory.
Yeah, maybe. He certainly was, he certainly was
a stout
captain,
man, wasn't he?
A captain, a stout captain.
But yeah, that's what it's about, being the captain of your boat, right? Like Will said, like figure out what you want, figure out what you don't want, and put steps in place to get you closer to that, whatever it is that you want, whether it be a goal or a thing, whatever. And keep learning and integrate these things into your life. That word I'm never saying again.
Stumble.
Yeah.
We're going to make you say it a lot.
Integrate.
Because integrity is really about having everything all together, right? Concisely enough.
I think it's about, like, if I tell you something or if I believe something, I shouldn't act in the opposite way,
That's part of integrity. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that's one thing that I guess I'm proud of through doing the show. It's like keeps me in check, because I follow these things and I do the work, and I use these coping tools and things that we talk about and things that we learn from our guests. These are all new opportunities and tools to work with that I use.
That we both use.
Yeah, we both use.
I don't know where I would be at this point if it wasn't for these tools. And I'll tell you the truth. I've realized that a lot of my healing and a lot of my journey, I've made some blunders. And I call them blunders because I realized that there was probably a couple of times where I could have probably sped up my process or taken part in my process a little sooner. That I'm not. I don't want to say I regret, because there's nothing I can do about it. I can't change it.
Right.
I can't change it. I do wish I had gone inpatient when I had the opportunity, and the only reason why I say that is because it would have gotten me out of all of my normal thing at that time, and probably would have helped something else maybe. But what I realized throughout all that process in the last 10 years of just coming back out of this process and really wanting to be alive and wanting to stay alive and actually like being happy to be above ground, man.
Right.
Like I'm genuinely happy to be above ground.
Yeah.
Every day. Like I thank Unity every day when I wake up and I'm ready to go.
I mean, that's and I think that's a tool right there is gratitude and
gratitude's a huge tool, man.
Yeah. Going back to, of course, our friend Wayne Dyer.
Yes.
I mean, that was big for him, and I think he did that. I think he daily gave thanks that he was still here, and he was thankful that, he was able to write books and just do and live. So I think gratitude is a vital tool, for a lot of people.
Yeah, gratitude is super important.
Yeah. I think gratitude can help bring you back to, like, you're feeling a little disconnected, a little off, some gratitude. Little gratitude can go a long way.
It can go a long way because it can really turn your day around.
Right.
Because, man, there's, entitlement and stuff, it's a tough thing. So you're not entitled to everything, man. So be thankful for something once in a while.
Absolutely. Look at the things that you do have and don't look at the things that you wish you had or you want.
I did have an interesting conversation with a coworker of mine recently, and my coworker who has traveled way more extensively than I had actually really does make a really valid point that if you haven't traveled, you don't really know how good you have it, because you don't really know how bad the rest of the world really is off until you go to other countries and see that, like you go to a country like India, which there's so many people, there's a lot of poor people, and it's like people are just thankful just to have what they have. And it's like I
bet you a lot of those, you'll find probably more happy people there, though.
Yeah, you do. You do find more happy people there, especially like, in those places. Because, I mean, you're already up against a hurdle. So you're already not thinking that you're getting out. So what are you going to do? You got to acceptance, man. Acceptance is a huge part of healing. You have to accept where you're at and then start to build your path out. And but when you get to a point where you have healed something, acknowledge it, celebrate it.
Yeah.
Celebrate it, and then get back to work.
Yep.
That's what Stephen Pressfield says. The day you ship, that's great. Celebrate your ship, but make sure you got your next project all ready to go. In the war of art, man.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think definitely, but you make a good point. You allow that space and acknowledge it and accept that, you know what, I'm not where I was. I may not be where I want to be, but I'm not where I was.
That's right.
Because I think that can be a big help. It's that self-compassion piece that, so many of us lack. But it's a tool another tool that can go a long way, I think. Yeah,
self-compassion is huge, but most of us don't have it for ourselves.
No.
Some of us have it too much for ourselves.
Really?
And then, I think there's people that take it way too far. And then, and then there's others who don't have any of it at all.
Yeah.
Self-compassion is hard because, again, like, compassion, if you're not naturally empathetic, compassion is not something that you may necessarily have a lot of all the time. So, unless you've been taught about certain things and you have a certain amount of emotional intelligence to you, compassion isn't necessarily something that you're just born with innately all the time, I don't think.
Yeah, it's probably Maybelline.
So
maybe she's born with it.
Maybe she's born with it.
No, you're right.
It's not something that, some people are, don't get me wrong. There are people who are just naturally born with those tendencies because we all got something, but most of us aren't born with, super compassion and not even realize what it is. And so to have it for ourselves is harder if you don't know what it is, then you can't recognize it. So how can you have it for yourself? So the first thing is acknowledging and then recognizing what it is and then learning how to bring it into yourself.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, always stay mindful of that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, being mindful about anything is important for all this. And again, we come back to this all the time. You want a quick way to be mindful? Just stop for a second and take in a deep breath. And hold it in and let it out. And just pay attention to that breath. Feel it going into your nose. Feel it going out of your mouth. And that'll bring you back in. And that'll settle you in. And that'll get you flowing.
You know what's nice too is, which same thing with breathing. You can do it anywhere. Is like some simple like shoulder rolls or neck rolls.
Yeah, neck rolls, shoulder rolls. Even just, I like to shake everything out.
That's a good one.
Shaking everything out. Even like tightening, like squeezing.
Yeah, and then let go.
And then let go.
Yeah, I do that.
That gets the chi moving in the body. And then maybe tap your arms, tap your shoulders.
I think I don't know, like,
get the meridians going.
But I think it, like, kind of, when you do that, it's almost telling your body there's a threat, but then as you relax it, it's like, but we're okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like taking the reins and saying, okay. It's almost like a real, like, physical thing.
Yeah, it's a good feeling most times when I do it. So, yeah, I do it frequently, actually. Usually once a day, probably.
Yeah, throwing the cold water on the face, that's really good. I like doing that, too. But when did you start to recognize that you were healing? And did you recognize that you were healing? Or did you not realize that you were healing? Or have you realized it at all?
Geez, I don't know if I can actually pinpoint it, because if I had to guess, I probably didn't realize it in the beginning. Like some things I just kind of overlooked because not being mindful of it, not not knowing like what I'm looking for exactly either. I think I can't pinpoint the time, but it was something that would have normally got a reaction out of me, and it didn't, and I was kind of like, and I questioned it, and I just sat with it, and then I was like, okay, and I just kind of moved on. I didn't really. Maybe I should have given it a little bit more space, but I didn't, just because I was like almost nervous, like that was a fluke thing.
Yeah, right? Because you were probably, I'm sitting over here listening to you say this, and Tim's looking at me, and I'm stone-faced cold until I just got to the mic, because I wasn't expecting that necessarily, like, to come out of him either, and I was like, okay.
Yeah. So I think for me, like that, and maybe it's small, but I'm getting a lot better at being mindful. I'm working at the pause. It's still not always there handy, but I do notice that when I am able to take that pause, it is such a big help for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. I know when I get to take a pause, it's good. I'm fortunate that, like, my days now, I feel most of the time when I leave, I feel pretty good. Today I was a little drained.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just tired. Like, this week, for some reason, I'm just a little tired and stuff. But I wondered about when I started to recognize it, and I think I get to see it a little bit every day.
I was going to say,
I get to see it.
There.
I get to see it a little bit every day because I'm surrounded by it 24/7, because I'm alone a lot of times. So I'm really forced to try to be mindful. I'm not all the time. I'm not. Okay, I'm not. I mean, there are times I'm on autopilot for sure and stuff. And I've definitely had a few little things here and there still just tweak me to the point where I just, and I think part of it is that I know that I've changed, and even some of those reactions feel a little silly in a way, but yet I can't, yet I was like, yet I really want to let it go though. Like, cause I was like the other day on the Northway, I was fucking furious. I'm just like, person in front of me, every car is moving in front of her on the phone. I'm like on the horn, and it's just like, I can't stand it.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no, like, and you know.
One thing that I guess helped me notice was seeing somebody do something maybe that I would have done 5 years ago.
Yeah, yes. And yes.
I go, and I kind of looked at it. I didn't really get it at first, but I'm like, Jesus, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's maybe what I sounded like and looked like 5 years ago. So that's a good feeling. I can just go, okay. Not saying it, not saying it will never happen again, but it's just less frequent, and just noticing it just made me kind of take a step back.
That's good though that you noticed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed these little things too. The good thing about a lot of this for me though is it's allowing me to really hit. It's really starting to connect the stars.
Nice.
Right? And it really is like, I'm really starting to be able to say, okay, like obviously we already know that this is this piece. We already know that that's that.
Yep.
Now, why am I still not quite as, like, what is it? Is it really just me? Is it?
Well, like you said, that needle sometimes just sticks right in that groove, that record.
Well, yeah, and you can't, and sometimes
we're not always able to pick it up and move it to the next track.
That's right. And until that stylus can't play anymore, and you got to switch out that needle, well, it's going to be stuck in that groove. So you need something to change that groove.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe you talked a few weeks back about kind of changing the way you look at things, and maybe that it's stuck there so we can notice it and kind of figure out how to move that needle.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We can move the needle now, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the records aren't spinning like they used to. And I'm taking deliberate steps now. I'm not necessarily. Not everything is deliberate. Okay, some of it is still it's still just me, because there's a part of me that is just never gonna be able to sit down and plot out every goddamn thing, because that's just not who I am.
Right.
Like, I'm a little bit more chaotic than that, and quite honestly, I really do work better under tighter constraints and pressure, because that's and it must be I like doing it because I always force myself to do it this way. So
if it works for you, then
but even though that doesn't mean I can't get better at it.
Right.
But I'll crack a joke and say the only thing the one thing that I'll never grow is my height. But I can certainly grow and hair, but I can certainly grow myself, and I've definitely grown.
Yeah.
And I've
I've noticed a huge change, because there's things when you went through some situations recently that are completely warranted, and anybody would and you, I'll say, definitely surprised me with a lot of that.
Yeah, well, sometimes I surprise myself, but other times, again, like life is a teacher, man, and everything, and we've talked about black and white thinking.
Oof.
We've talked about that ad nauseum at some degrees, and I'll tell you the truth, I suffered from that for a long time.
Yeah.
But a lot of things, man, and yes, I still have some of that.
Sure.
And God damn it, I'm not letting some of that go, because that black and white thinking, I'm sorry, I'm never going to come to that side. I'm sorry, I'm just not. But it's like you can't go into the same situation. You can't get yourself out of the same situation using the same mindset that you got yourself into the situation.
Correct.
You cannot.
You can't. Yeah.
I mean, you're just,
I think
you're just stuck on stupid if you do. Because, you're just stuck, because that's what happens. And it's hard, man. Like it's easy to get down. It's easy to get stuck. It's easy to look around and see and compare and feel less than.
Oh,
but
sure. Don't
ever feel less than.
No. And I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think certain... there's a handful of us that have that kind of embedded into our system, that not good enough, less than feeling. And I think some people like that it's just not a part of their vocabulary, which is sometimes astounding, but it's awesome for them, to not have that kind of weight.
But I'll tell you that I don't believe that.
No.
I just I mean, I'm not saying, because again, maybe they don't now, but I think if you've gotten to a specific point, like either you're 007, man, or you experienced something and you were able to find it early enough to say, okay, if I do this, then I'm going to be... You may have had some people that gathered around you and pushed you in the right direction.
They just had different scenarios and different elements that, some of us are more susceptible to it, I guess.
Yeah, if you're susceptible, if you have... So susceptibility when it comes to anything, like when it comes to trauma and grief, like if you have any of the susceptibility issues of mental illness, or if you've suffered losses, or if you've had like a major life loss that was violent, like these things will keep manifesting in different ways.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
and until you start to change your relationship to those,
correct,
to those events or to that trauma, or
I think the symptoms that were most of us are feeling and dealing with are because of that stuff.
I definitely think so. I mean, there are people with legitimate cancers, and but autoimmune stuff is literally your body attacking itself.
Right.
And autoimmune is not all these autoimmune diseases aren't they're not diseases necessarily. They're
inflammation within the body. It's
inflammation within the body, and the body's attacking itself.
Right.
So most of that is caused, a lot of that is caused environmentally, what you put into your body, but most importantly, also what you think.
Right.
And how you think about yourself and how you view your world and your place in it. Yeah. And there are a lot of people, we know this. I'm gonna use my soapbox for a minute because it is terrible, because what we've seen during the post-pandemic time is now jobs that are actually really necessary are going left unfilled because nobody's filling them. And we can't have a world full of YouTube stars. Like, we can't. And guess what, man? Guess what? We can't have a world full of experts either. Right. Because guess what? Just because you read a book doesn't make you an expert.
I think we need a world full of open-minded thinkers that are compassionate and have empathy.
Wow, dude, what do we want to go back to, like the time of like Socrates, and
I don't know.
Are we going to the Renaissance period, or
maybe? I don't know.
Good luck with that'll never happen.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know, like
that would be great, but
there needs to be some. I think there's a lot of loose morals running around, and people not knowing even, what they want, or what they represent, or what they're even doing.
Do you think we're just getting old?
Fuck.
No, I'm saying that. Yeah. I'm not saying that age-wise, but I'm saying it like, do you think that we're getting old? Do you think we're just kind of taking the place of where our parents were?
I don't. I think for me, like, I'm gaining new perspectives. And some of these perspectives I've had too for a while. I just was told that I was wrong and I was too much. So it's like I started to, believe that shit, which kind of like was like more of a governor, so when you get into those positions and you have these emotions and feelings, and then you're like told to like shut it down. When you're a kid, you think that, well, that equates to these feelings are bad.
Yeah.
Right. So then you don't do it. Right.
Right.
So, but some of these things I've thought for a long time, and it's kind of cool to like come back to it, because I'm like, yeah, I really thought that for a long time, and now I see it, again popping up. So it's I don't know. I just think people, there's a lot of disconnect. There's just a lot of everything. There's a lot of distractions. And again, people, there's not too many authentic people that are walking around.
I gotta say that the scene that we come from has a lot of authentic people. Like, there's some pretty authentic people in that out there.
Yeah,
I think,
it's hard
but
to say,
I also think
some of them think they
that
are,
people,
and some of them try to be, and I think they have the wrong. It's like these people with yoga. You know what I mean? They have, oh well, I put on these pants and I do yoga. Like, do you really know what you're doing and what it's about? Like, I don't know.
Well, not every yoga teacher's there to like make YouTube videos about the Yoga Sutras and stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of them. So, but I get where you're coming from though, because again, like it is true. Like, it's amazing. Like, you turn off your social media for a day and then go back on it the next day, and you would think that, who knows, you're friggin' surrounded by like ads for everything that you've viewed and
talked about
in the last like 24 hours to anybody, it seems.
Yeah. Well, that's why if you start following more positive things and I think it was Sylvester Jenkins. I don't remember what episode it was, but he said, "What you tune into, you turn into."
Yeah, he did too.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that
and
was
he's so
awesome.
true. It's like it's
yeah,
so
Sylvester,
precise.
Word up, man. He's awesome. Love Sylvester.
He nailed it with that one because he's right. Like what you tune into, that's what happens. You start like Will said, you feed your mind with this stuff, and you gotta be mindful of what you're doing and feed it positive things that are going to be, don't think about what you want, like you said in the beginning. Think about what you want, where you want to be, where you want to go. Then think about how you want to get there. And I think part of how you want to get there is that, like, you want to shut down anything that's not aligned with what you want. You know what I mean? If there's whatever, you need some downtime joking around, great. But, if there's something that is kind of against what you are about, you want to kind of, push it aside and only surround yourself with things that are going to be supportive and true to what you want to do.
I agree. You do have to surround yourself with the stuff, but also don't be afraid to like hear something from the outside that's not part of it, because there's something about outside influences is good to a certain degree too, because you do need to hear all sides about everything.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're capable of it, I think so. Yeah.
Well, if you're not capable, but if you're not capable of it, then you need to go back and figure out why you're not capable of it.
Okay, yeah.
Because now, granted, not everybody is worth listening to.
Yeah,
for you at all. So if you find a person that is, just take it. Hopefully it's a constructive thing. You don't ever want to take advice or hear somebody's opinion that's putting you down. No, it's got to be positive and it's got to be, and if it is calling out something, then it make sure you have the respect for yourself to make sure it's a respectful way.
There you go. Yes.
But getting back to the healing and growth. So do you think that the biggest growth part for you was being able to finish the book and put it out? Like, was that a big, or was that just, what do you think? Like, how is your relationship with this so far taken shape?
I feel like it's almost like I feel like it should have a bigger place, but it almost doesn't in a way. I don't know. And I'm not like invalidating it or anything.
Do you think that that's because of how you attach to other things? Or do you think it's an attachment to yourself?
I don't know. I think it was more like the original thing behind putting the book out was to silence some of those gremlins and be like, you know what? Like, whether or not this is good or whether or not people like it, I did it, and that's that. Like, it's like one of those things that you can't take away. Like, you did something. It's like there.
Oh, yeah. It's tangible.
So that for me was like, it was like a step towards like decreasing like the self-doubt and the fear, which I think it chipped away some of that stuff, but I don't know. I think the process of doing it helped me more than actually putting it out. Like the actual, like
the work. Yeah, I'm sure the work did probably help you, because that's the important part.
Right.
That's really cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very proud. Very happy for you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, that's how it was. I mean, I enjoyed that stuff too. Like, I enjoyed, like, towards the end, like, piecing it together and going, ooh, I have to do chapters and, like, getting, you know what I mean? And having that, I kind of had, like, the vision, like, right away. Like, I wanted to do this, this, and this, and this, and have quotes and stuff. That was kind of like, I don't want to say set, but I really knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted it to look like, I guess. And that I just like that creative side of it, is making it more not just putting out a book, but like, I guess from the artist side of things, if that makes any sense. You know, just being able to put it together and then hold the finished copy was pretty cool. I mean, it's still pretty cool when I hold it now, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It's pretty cool when I hold it.
Yeah.
I haven't finished it yet, though, so.
It's all right.
Only because I'm also trying to do other stuff, too, so I'm like, so it's just like everything else all at once.
Yeah. We'll do an episode.
But we're going to do an episode in the future on it. We got some cool stuff that we're working on too and behind here.
Yeah, definitely.
Tim and I are coming up with some cool things to do.
And we have some really cool guests coming up too.
Yeah, we have some really cool guests coming up. So, got to check back with us, man. Don't forget, this is our 4th year. 4 years, 2019 we've been around since. So, we appreciate it. Yannicka, over there in the Netherlands, got to say thank you. I got to say thank you to Sylvester Jenkins. Sylvester and Yannicka both had sent in Buy Me a Coffees recently. And we haven't had a chance. We haven't been on to record episodes together, so I haven't had a chance to say it.
Yeah, cool. We had one. You don't remember we had one from the punk rock flea market.
We did get one from the punk rock flea market, and I have not actually gone on to check it. So thank you for that. And
we do have a Buy Me a Coffee, though. What is that, Will? How do
Buy Me a Coffee? It's Buy Me a Coffee / Above Ground Pod. And that is our Buy Me a Coffee page. And so you can go there and donate to the show, and that'll help us. That'll help us keep going, man.
Thank you for the support. Thank you for listening. If you like these episodes, you can obviously share them.
Yeah, please rate it on Apple. Here. Please rate it on Apple too if you're listening on Apple. It's been a while since we've had a review.
Yeah, for sure.
You can review out there, leave us something. It'll help us get found in the searches. That would be awesome.
Yeah, because all these big name podcasters are going to eventually move on. They need some new fresh blood in there, and who's it going to be?
That's right. Well, thank you again very much for 4 years of listening. Until next week, get well.
Be safe.
Stay
above. Thank you for giving us a listen. New episodes every Wednesday. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, you can share, rate, review, and even subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. Other ways to support the show: follow us on social media, share the content, share our episodes. You can also buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com / Above Ground Pod. For further concerns, show ideas, or just to say hi, you can email us at abovegroundpodcast@gmail.com. Once again, thank you for listening and supporting mental health. Keep the conversation going and stay above.